Hi friends, I am Dr. Shailendra Bansode, Kejasumaya College, Koppalgaon. Today, I am going to deal with the class F5BA and the paper is Compulsory English. As you know, for Compulsory English, this is the textbook prescribed for Compulsory English and the title of the textbook is Literary Games, an Anthology of Prose and Poetry. From this anthology, today I am going to deal with the first poem prescribed for you, and the title of the poem is A Red, Red Rose, written by a famous poet Robert Burns, who is known as National Poet of Scotland. Before we start the poem, let's collect some information related with the poet. Robert Burns, born in 1759 and died in 1796. He had got a very limited life of 37 years. He died at the age of 37. But before that, he has contributed English literature immensely. He was born in Ayrshire, Scotland, and therefore he is a Scottish poet. His father was a tenant farmer who taught his children at home. Burns also studied for a year in the school started by his father and John Murdoch. Poverty and struggle in early life would later tell on his health. Between 1784 and 1785, he wrote a lot of poems, many of which were collected in his first book, Poems Chiefly in the Scottish Dialect, which became an instant success, and Burns was celebrated in Scotland and England as a great peasant poet. Peasant means farmer. Burns is among the best known poets who have written in the Scot language, although much of his writing is in English. His poems celebrate traditional Scottish culture and document expressions of farm life, class, and religion distinctions. He is regarded as the national poet of Scotland. He died at the age of 37 of heart disease. Now, one thing you might have noticed that he is known as a Scottish poet, Scotland. And he was famous in England as well as Scotland. He used Scottish dialect, and therefore many of his poems are written in Scottish dialect. This poem is also written in Scottish dialect, but for your understanding, for the understanding of foreign learners, non-British learners, it is simplified in today's English. So the poem is in modern English. Let us talk something about the poem. This poem, A Red, Red Rose. In this poem, the poet promises undying love to his beloved. He compares his love to a rose that had just bloomed. Though there seems to be a shadow of parting. Parting means going away from someone. The poet promises to be with her till his death. So friends, this is a wonderful love poem where you will find roses, not just rose. The title itself suggests red, red rose. The word red is repeated for showing the intensity of love. So for you, first of all, I will read the entire poem and then we'll discuss the poem stanza by stanza. Alright, are you ready? So let's begin. Oh, my love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. Oh, my love is like the melody that's sweetly played in tune. As fair art thou, my bonny lass, so deep in love am I, and I will love thee still, my dear, till all the seas run dry. Till all the seas run dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun. I will love thee still, my dear, while the sense of life shall run. And fare thee well, my only love, and fare thee well a while, and I will come again, my love, though it were 10,000 miles. Short but very, very beautiful poem. Here, the expression of love, expression of, is compared with a red rose. Everything is very interesting. In the first stanza, the poet says, my love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. My love is like a melody that's sweetly played in tune. Friends, here, just imagine a boy is in love with a girl and is extremely or deeply in love with her. And so, when somebody is in love, he or she tries to express it in more profound manner. So here he compares his beloved with a rose. But what kind of rose? Red. Not only red, a red, repetition. The word red is repeated here. You know figures of speech. So this is one of the figures of speech. Red. In the first line he says, oh, my love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. Now here he is comparing his beloved with a red rose. Just imagine a red rose, that too in the month of June, that newly sprung in June, in the month of June, where we have light shower and in the early morning period, little sunshine is there and the half bloom rose, red rose is there, and some droplets of water are there on the petals. And when the sun rays flash on it, the picture looks extremely beautiful. The picture of that beautiful red rose is compared with the beauty of the beloved. And so, when we talk about figures of speech, here simile is there because two similar objects are compared here. Beauty of the beloved and the beauty of the rose. So in the first line itself, the poetic devices are used to make his point more powerful. My love is like a red, red rose that newly sprung in June. Now the poet is not satisfied, the boy is not satisfied, the lover is not satisfied. Further he goes and he says, my love is like the melody that sweetly played in tune. Now in the first two lines, he compares his beloved with the red rose, but he is not satisfied. In the next couplet he says, my love is like a melody. Melody means music, sweet music, harmonious music. And the effect of the music, whenever you or I listen to good music, we just simply close down our eyes and we just listen to the music, sweet music. The same way he says, my love is like a melody. By various instruments, the sound is created, but in a harmonious manner. That is melody. My love is like a melody that's sweetly played in tune. That melody is played sweetly. So here, again he compares his beloved with sweet music. It soothes our ear. Whenever you listen to your, the song which you like most, we tend to close our eyes, That is the pure satisfaction, pure joy. So here, poet has compared his beloved with the red rose and the sweet music, right? So here the first stanza, he explains the beauty of his beloved. At the same time, he shows that he is keenly and deeply in love with her. Alright, so let's move on to the second stanza. In the second stanza, poet says, as fair art thou, my bony lass, so deep in love am I, and I will love thee still, my dear, till all the seas run dry. What it says? As fair art thou, fair means beautiful, attractive. Art means art. As fair art thou, my bony lass. The word bony. Bony means beautiful. Bony. Look at the word bony. B-O-N-N-I-E. Boni means beautiful, and last means girl. Now what kind of girl she is? She is extremely beautiful girl. And therefore he said, as fair art thou, my bony lass. So you are so beautiful, you are so attractive, my beautiful girl. So deep in love am I. And therefore he says, so I am deeply in love with you, because you are such a beautiful girl, such a wonderful girl. So I am deeply in love. But here, if you look at this line, the poet says, so deep in love am I. The line is not in correct grammatical order, right? It is inversion. This is called inversion, where words are not in correct prose order. It should be, so deep in love, I am in deep love with you. It should be like that, but it is not like that. Why? Because just to drag the attention of the reader, some shocking treatment is given, just to get your attention. Here, therefore, the figures of speech inversion is used here. So deep in love am I, and further he says, and I will love thee still, my dear, till all the seas can dry. And what about the continuity of love? Is I'll keep loving you. How long? We often say in Hindi movies that they take oaths that I will love you till the death and all that. So janam janam tak hum pyar karenge, like that. Here also he says the same thing. I will love thee still, my dear. Still, my dear means till all the seas can dry. Till all the seas can dry. What is this? This is nothing but exaggeration. We call it hyperbole. He says, I will love thee still, till that moment, till all the seas can dry. Sea, sea, full of water. You cannot measure it. And those seas, till all the seas, not just one sea, whatever water is present on earth in the form of sea, that all the seas can dry. Can dry means become dry. When all the seas will be dry, means what? There will be no drop of water on the earth. Till that moment, I'll keep loving you. What does it mean? It means that till the end of this planet, end of this universe, I will keep loving you. Endless love, There is no end. This life is very meager in front of it. I will love thee till my dear, till all the seas can dry. So, till all the seas can dry. Unless, all the seas can dry, my love will not cease. My love will not stop. I will keep loving you till that moment. Now, here again, exaggeration is there, because love is there, and you love, all such things happen. In the third stanza, again he says, till all the seas can dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun, I will love thee still, my dear, while the suns of life shall run. Once again, he goes ahead and says, till all the seas can dry, my dear. Look at the word my dear. When you say, when you are in love, you always say that, oh my dear, just like that. Till all the seas can dry, my dear, and the rocks, now rocks, and the rocks melt with the sun. Melting of rock. What is melting? Melting is getting in the liquid form, that is melt. Some solid thing is getting the form of liquid, that is melting. Now rock, the hardest substance present on earth is rock. You know that. It's very difficult. Only when you have the fire, extreme fire, in the form of, sometimes earthquake takes place and lava comes out. Only that lava can melt the rocks. So here means when all the rocks will melt, means extreme heat will be there in the atmosphere. And in that extreme heat, if rocks melt, what about humans? Will they survive? Absolutely not. As said in the second stanza, all the seas can dry. When seas will can dry, what will happen? Life will not be there on the earth. But the poet says, till all the seas can dry, I'll keep loving you. Now here he says, all the rocks melt with the sun. Means the extreme heat of sun will melt the rock. Till that moment, I'll keep loving you. Means what? Means everything will vanish, but my my love for you will never vanish. So here he is exaggerating just to please her, just to show her how deeply he loves her. And therefore in the second and third stanza he shows his intensity of love towards her. But now you might have a question in your mind, why? Why is trying to say something like that I am deeply in love with you, I will keep loving you till all the seas can dry, till all the rocks melt with the sun. The answer is there in the last stanza. What is it in the last stanza? Okay, before that let's discuss the remaining two lines. Till all the seas can dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun, I will love thee still, my dear. I will love thee. Thee means you. It is written in Old English. D-T-H-E-E. Thee means you. I will love thee still, my dear, while the signs of life shall not. Now, signs of life means as long as there is sign of life on the earth. Earth is explained with signs. Signs of life means as long as there is life on the earth, I will keep loving you. That is the meaning of this particular line. When everything will vanish from this earth, then I may not be there, but till that moment, I will keep loving you. That's what he's trying to say. Now let's come to the last stanza of the poem. And fare thee well, my only love. Now you know the word farewell. Fare means going away from someone, that is farewell. Here he says, and fare thee well, my only love. What he says? My only love. You might be surprised to know that only love is what? There is always only one. But you know, nowadays, first love, second love, third love. But here, poet is very genuine in his effort. He says, fare thee well, my only love, because she is the only person to whom he loves like anything. And therefore he uses the word my only love. And to make her aware of his love, he is saying, you are my only one, you are my dear darling. And so he says, and fare thee well, my only love, and fare thee well a while. But for this moment, at this moment, I am going away from you. So take my farewell. Now you got the meaning of first three stanzas. Why he is trying to please her? Because for some reason, he has to go away from her. And she is very sad because he is departing. He is going away from her and therefore she is sad. So just to make her happy and just to tell her that I am not going away from her, forever. So he says, and fare thee well, my only love, and fare thee well a while, and I will come again, my love, though it were 10,000 miles. Again, he says, okay, as you know, I love you like anything. You are my only love. When he compares her with red rose, with sweet melody, he shows his intensity of love by using the terms like melting of rocks and seas going dry. He, by all means, is trying to show her that he is deeply in love with her and she is the only one to whom he loves like anything. But now he has to go away from her for some reason. But he promises her in the last two lines that though he goes away from her, he may go away a long distance. Here it is said that 10,000 miles. It is not exact 10,000 miles. A long distance. Though he is going away from her for a long distance, for a long time. But he says, he assures her that he will come back. I will come again. What he promises her in the last two lines? And I will come again, my love. Oh, my dear love. I will come again. Don't worry. Don't get frustrated. Don't be so sad. Right? Why? Because I am going to come back. Though it were 10,000 miles. Don't worry. If I am going away from you, I am going away a long distance, but for your love, for you, I will come again. Again here we can find that things are exaggerated, that he will come back from 10,000 miles. Hyperbole is used here. So here the poet assures her once again that he is going to come back to her because he is deeply in love with her. Now this is, friends, this is the power of love. When you genuinely love someone, you do not want to hurt that person. It may be a male or a female. It may be a lover or a beloved. They never, feel to cheat the other partner or to deceive the other partner or to make the other partner sad by any means. So here he is trying to show her that he is deeply in love with her. His love is not, for anybody else. It is only for her. He shows the intensity of love by using two images like seas going dry and rocks melting with the sun. Here again he reminds her that you are my only love. He calls her Boni Las, means beautiful girl. She is extremely beautiful. So all these things shows the poet's mind that he is deeply in love with her, and therefore he is feeling sad that he is going away. But at the same time, he is trying to tell her that he is going to come back to her. Whatever might happen, but he will definitely going to come back to her. And so this is how the poet shows the bond of love through this beautiful poem. The original poem is written in Scottish dialect, but in this text it is converted according to the need of the present reader. So it is in today's English. But if possible, you can read the original poem in Scottish English. It is easily available on YouTube or any other media. So just go through that. I hope you might have understood the poem. In the next lecture, we will analyze the poem. Till then, have a nice time. Thank you.